Multi-millionaire comedian Joe Rogan is known for his stoner comedy, his controversial conversation topics, and of course, having nipples way too far apart. He's also known for having the most popular podcast of all time. With over 2,000 episodes, 1.5 billion total downloads since its inception, and 7 million YouTube subscribers, Joe is the king of the podcasting arena, whether you like it or not. In 2020, he signed an exclusive deal with Spotify that landed him $100 million. And in February 2024, he renewed the contract, got rid of the exclusivity, and got $250 million. And I'm going to tell you how he did it. Today, we're going to talk about the 5 things that got Joe Rogan to this point and how you yourself, with a lot of hard work and a little bit of consistency, can become Rogan rich. And make sure to watch all the way to the end of the video because I have a secret bonus tip for you that I think is going to help you out the most. So I'm sure there are some of you saying, hey Phil, I've looked at your subscriber count, I've looked at your view counts, and honestly, you're not Rogan rich either. And to that I'll say, you're right. I'm still well on my way trying to become who I want to be. I'm still pursuing these things. But with these 5 things that I have noticed that Joe Rogan has done that's put him above everybody, I've implemented them into my YouTube channel and it's helped me immensely. Also, fuck you. Step 1, find your audience. Joe Rogan's first big break came in 1995 on a popular sitcom called News Radio. From there, he went to hosting Fear Factor in the early 2000s, but what really got him his core audience was becoming a commentator for UFC. Joe's personal experience in competing at Taekwondo at a young age and studying mixed martial arts as an adult led to him having brilliant insights as well as very funny jokes and comments. This helped him build a secure following before even starting the podcast. And the mixed martial arts fighter crowd, I think, is actually perfect for him because these are people that are into exactly what he is into. They're also typically free thinkers who have their own convictions and see them through. And I think those are main elements of what Joe Rogan's podcast is. Yes, it's conspiracy theories and stuff like that. Yes, it's talking to different scientists, but I think as a whole, there's this kind of energy that radiates through the podcast, which is a lot about self-sufficiency and, mental fortitude and triumphing over things. And that's why I think Joe resonates so much with his audience, because they're people who want to be better and strive for more. And I think he inspires them. He's someone who's so hyper-focused on his goals. It's inspiring to watch. It causes people to be hyper-focused on their goals, or at least try. And that leads to a very dedicated listenership. People like to connect with their hosts. Guests are great, but people truly like to connect with their host. And when you do things like inspire them or teach them how to be better, maybe not even through real lessons, but just through them observing who you are, it leads to a very dedicated fan base. That being said, finding your audience takes lots and lots of time. It doesn't come easily, and it usually comes with years of dedication to the things that you love and slowly amassing followers and supporters over a long period of time. So make sure to buckle up because you're going to be in for a long ride. Step 2. Speak your mind. In this world where people have to side with anything and they're constantly being pushed into groupthink, it's actually kind of an admirable thing to be the person who decides to say how they actually feel. Now, this has gotten Joe Rogan in a lot of trouble before. We've seen him get made fun of on the media countless times. We've also seen him have to apologize during the pandemic because of his comments about the vaccine. But that being said, speaking honestly and truly, letting people know how you feel can lead to great moments. What I like about Joe as far as this stuff goes, he's not controversial for the sake of controversy. He's controversial for the sake of opening up a real conversation about what's going on in the world. And for a lot of people, that's very stressful because of social media and how everyone can jump on you and blame you in 2 seconds for one little small comment that you've made. But as far as Joe goes, he's someone who doesn't really seem to care, and I think that's why people really connect with him so much. Number 3, educate yourself. So I'm sure on this step, there's a lot of people rolling their eyes like, come on, Joe Rogan of all people, the guy who says things for clicks, the guy who talks out of his ass, he educates himself. And you know what? I would say, yes, he does. You don't have to have a college degree in order to educate yourself. For as controversial as he is, Joe Rogan is actually a pretty intelligent guy, and he knows a little bit about pretty much everything. And I think that helps build a very, very good podcast because you have different types of guests on, and you can talk to them in a very deep and intense way that gets them to open up more. And that's something that's kind of rare with podcasts. A lot of people that only know about one subject, they only stay in one subject, and they get terrified if the conversation gets derailed anywhere else. Now, sometimes that can be good depending on who's on the podcast or, you know, what you're watching, whatever. But at the same time, it's nice to have different types of variety and different thought processes around you and to not be intimidated by that. I think not just for listening at the episode, but I think to subconsciously tell your listeners and viewers that it is good to listen to different points of views. Number 4, broaden your horizons. This goes back to the educating point. You know, because Joe is so educated, he can broaden his horizons and have on different types of people and have different types of conversations, making his content never stale. That's something that I've been trying to work on here. You know, I comment on comedy, but I'm also thinking about commenting on politics. I'm trying to do man on the street stuff. I'm trying to write sketches. I'm trying to put up stand-up clips all on here to broaden my horizons because just because I'm doing well in one sector doesn't mean I can't also do well in another sector. And nowadays with the internet, it's not really about doing one thing. It's more about the personality of who you are and whether or not people like you. And then from there, they will start buying your stuff or listening to your stuff and seeing who you are. It's less about one art form or one medium and more about doing all the mediums at once and kind of getting people to be interested in who you are as a person. And that's something that Joe has done exceptionally. He has on scientists, he has on musicians, he has on comedians, he has on actors, he has political activists on, he has on everybody under the sun. And this makes you feel that when you are listening to his podcast, you're not just listening to a comedy podcast, you're listening to the voice of a generation. You know, his stuff is almost like a time capsule. You know, there's plenty of comedy podcasts, but there's few comedy podcasts that are going to feel like a time capsule, that are going to have their fingers on the pulse of what our society was at certain times. And Joe Rogan's podcast is definitely that. Number 5, bless people around you. Guys, I can't say this enough. The best way to maintain success is to help other people become successful as well. You know, help people while you're on the road to the top, and when you're going downward, they will be there to help you as well. It's the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You want them to do unto you is make you successful. So what you should be doing unto them is making them successful in turn. There's been a lot of people that Joe Rogan has helped out in comedy, and a lot of fans or internet trolls have very, very different takes on whether or not these people should have fame. You can debate if these guys are funny or not, but one thing you can't debate is whether or not Joe has changed their lives. And the truth is that he has. And the thing about that is that when you change somebody's life like that, you know, sure, some of them might not be funny, but some of them are now able to flourish and become bigger than you thought they ever could be. For example, someone like Shane Gillis. He is the one who gave Shane Gillis one of his first major looks, and that skyrocketed Shane to where he is now. Shane was doing well on his own, that's absolutely true, but you can't deny Joe Rogan's help definitely gave him a major, major boost. Then you have people like Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer, who some people love, and then other people think, if Joe didn't have the Midas touch, you guys wouldn't be shit. And there might be some truth to it, but regardless, people like them and like who they are. And, you know, how this helps Joe, in turn, is that now these people have such large listenerships and so much under their own belts that if Joe needs anything, he can now get it with only a phone call. And that is worth so much. You know, some people would even say connections are worth more than money. They're priceless. Number 6, make videos about Joe Rogan or Andrew Schultz or Bert Kreischer or Tom Segura, any of these guys. Make your videos, put them out there. Even look at just this video. Me putting Joe Rogan's face on it and telling you how to get rich came together and created a huge viewership for this video just off of his name and what he's done with his life. These are people that have a very large fan base and a very dedicated fan base that is internet savvy. And that leads to a lot of attention when you make YouTube about these people or when you make any sort of content about these people. I dissed Andrew Schultz a month ago and I still have people liking it, commenting on it, and sending me troll emails, okay? So if I can do it, you can do it. All right, guys, well, that's the video. Let me know how your journey on becoming Rogan Rich goes, and I'll see you later. Peace.